Hey guys, Dr. Joel Seedman here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the feet and ankles and why you want to train your feet and ankles to enhance your performance. Now I want to go into the 12 tips to enhance your foot function and basically a tutorial on how to optimize your foot and ankle activation. For our first tip and cue, you want to either go barefoot or wear some type of barefoot shoe like Vivo Barefoot. And the reason why is because traditional shoes are very stiff. They provide too much support, so much so that the actual muscles of the foot and ankle complex, they can't do their job. The shoe actually acts kind of like a crutch. And as mentioned earlier, activation begins with our foot and ankle region, and that impacts everything up the kinetic chain. If our feet and ankles aren't firing like they need to, if they're not doing their job, that means we have decreased activation. We also have decreased proprioception or sense of feel all the way up. So a barefoot shoe like this Vivo Barefoot shoe that I have in my hand here, you can fold it up. It's really thin, and the research actually shows that it mimics or simulates true barefoot conditions. So this is point number one, very important. You either got to go barefoot or wear a barefoot shoe. Instructional point number two, we want 3 points of contact with our feet. We want our heel, we want the outer or lateral portion of the foot close to our baby toe, and then we want the base of the big toe screwed firmly into the ground, pressed real firmly, tightly into the ground. That's going to create this 3 point of contact or this tripod stance where it feels like our foot is actually gripping or squeezing into the floor. Number 3, keep your feet perfectly straight on most exercises like bilateral movements such as squats, deadlifts, and jumps. And then on unilateral or more single leg type exercises like lunges or single leg squats, you're actually going to have your foot slightly rotated in to create more torque into the ground. Something to keep in mind here is that a perfectly straight foot is going to appear slightly more internally rotated than what most folks are used to, simply because on a healthy foot, your toe box should be fairly wide if the toes are spread, and it'll be much wider than the heel portion or the back of your foot. And so it's going to appear, if you're looking at it from the front, that your foot is internally rotated or slightly pigeon-toed, but it's really not. We're looking at the ankle joint. So again, we want straight feet and ankles for most exercises. Point number 4, screw your foot into the ground as hard as you can to create torque into the ground. It's almost as if you're literally trying to squeeze or grip the floor with your foot to create a sturdy foundation. Point number 5, pop your arches up. A lot of individuals have flat feet and fallen arches, or their arches are basically collapsed inward. We want that arch to be nice and high. Now, we don't want it to be excessively high, and the key for that is making sure that you're still pressing your big toe down into the ground while simultaneously trying to pop that arch up nice and high. Point number 6, make sure your toes are spread. We don't want them crowded. We don't want them crammed together. We want those toes spread apart as much as you naturally can, especially that big toe. We don't want it to be pulled in too closely to the other toes. You want to pull it apart to allow those feet, allow those toes to really grip into the ground firmly. That might require for some individuals to actually take their hands or their fingers and kind of manipulate their toes into position, or you can even wear something like a toe spacer device or yoga toes. They have different variations of these on Amazon or many places online, but those will help spread the toes apart so you have better foot activation. Point number 8, do more single leg exercises, single leg stabilization drills. That can be something as simple as a single leg stand or single leg stand with knee drive, or something a bit more complex like a single leg RDL or a single leg squat. Point number 9, do daily foot activation drills. This one is actually pretty important because a lot of folks, just from sitting or standing all day or being at the office or at work with traditional shoes on and their toes being crowded together, oftentimes what happens is those muscles of the feet and ankles, they start to shut down a little bit. Point number 10, don't neglect your shins. A lot of folks think that just because they're doing traditional calf exercises and calf raises, they're doing plenty for their feet and ankles. You want to make sure you're developing all sides of the foot and ankle complex. One of the best exercises for the shins is actually just a basic wall shin raise, where you lean against a wall and perform a shin raise where you're lifting your toes up and dorsiflexing your ankles. Big shout out to Ben Patrick, knees over toes guy, because he actually, I believe, came up with this exercise or at least made it popular. Point 11, focus more on your feet and less on corrective exercises. So a lot of folks, when they see some type of dysfunction in their body, especially in their legs or on their squat or deadlift or lunge, they'll immediately think, oh wow, I gotta try and do some type of corrective exercise to fix my mechanics. You'd be surprised by fixing your foot and ankle function, how much that impacts and corrects the rest of your body, especially in the lower half. Point number 12. Don't neglect using instability tools like the BOSU ball or balance devices. There's a lot of research showing that doing exercises on the BOSU ball or other similar devices actually helps to strengthen the muscles around the foot and ankle complex more so than almost anything you can do. So if you want stronger feet and ankles, do BOSU ball exercises like this. So that wraps up the 12 key tips for maximizing your foot and ankle function. I want to give you guys a few additional bonus points that I think will be useful, and they are also related to questions I commonly get from folks about foot and ankle strength. The first one deals with a common question about calluses, blisters, and even bunions. People ask, is that something that can be avoided? Actually, blisters and calluses and even bunions to an extent, it's a byproduct of putting too much pressure or uneven pressure across your toes and your feet. So you're having more pressure and more stress across one particular area or surface contact point of your foot. And as a result, you develop these very uncomfortable or unpleasant symptoms to your skin, as well as sometimes to the joints, like with bunions. And all of these things can actually be corrected quite a bit, including bunions where you don't actually need surgery, but just by improving your foot and ankle mechanics and having tension equally distributed across the entire foot, it's actually going to help these symptoms quite a bit, if not completely alleviate them. Bonus point number 2. People often ask me about orthotics. Should they continue to wear orthotics? Should they eliminate them? Should they wean off them? My recommendation is to try to wean yourself off those to the point where you don't need them. I would say roughly 50% of all the pro athletes and collegiate athletes that I train start off using orthotics because their podiatrist or doctor recommended it, or they just had foot discomfort, so they thought that was going to help resolve it. But that's just another Band-Aid on the wound. We're not treating the cause, we're just treating the symptoms. So rather than relying on an artificial structure to help your foot mechanics, strengthen your feet and ankles, and then you won't need to rely on the orthotics. And finally, bonus point number 3, and this is actually going to kind of wrap things up. It's going to tie it all together, not just with this video, but with other ones, because it goes back to our posture, our core, and our feet again, because we've been talking about that the entire video. The feet, the core, the posture, they're all related. The better you emphasize one or the better you get at performing one, it's going to impact all the others. So if you have better posture and you get better at firing your core, guess what? Your feet are going to activate a lot more efficiently. Similarly, if you're having trouble firing your core, you're having trouble with your posture, sometimes fixing your foot mechanics can help. So these all are related, they all work together. Don't neglect one, try to master all of them, because in doing so, you're going to optimize your overall muscle function. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce that my brand new book, Movement Redefined Fundamentals, is out and it's completely free. It's on my website, advancedhumanperformance.com, and it gives all the details of the 90-degree eccentric isometrics protocol, and it just gives all the fundamentals that you need to maximize your strength training and gain as much muscle as possible, as well as optimizing your joint health. So check it out. Again, it's completely free.